Hello and welcome to Luna and the Druid. I'm Luna, and Druid has changed recently since the last time you saw him. Of course, I'm joking. Hello, Magdalena. Today, instead of Jan, we will have a beautiful guest, my beloved, dearest, and best friend, who is a holistic life coach, yoga teacher, and sound healer. And tonight, we will talk about sound healing, sound baths, sound therapy, and we will debunk all the myths which are circling around in this environment. Hello, Magdalena. So lovely to have you here tonight. Thank you for joining me here and responding positively to invitation.
Hello, Luna. Hello, everyone. I just want to say that it's so lovely to be on this side of the screen. I usually sit within a community, providing many comments, and I'm a big fan of Luna The Druid show. And it's lovely, actually, that I got this invite. It's a privilege. Thank you for introduction, Anna. I just want to quickly, I think you've covered everything, but I'm holistic modalities practitioner covering yoga, sound baths, sound therapies, as well as coaching and quite new smart technique I've recently actually started using. So lovely to meet you all.
Yes, you've mentioned our beautiful community. So Claire says hi, Suzanne says hi, Richard says hi. Hello and welcome, guys. So lovely to have you here tonight. So let's jump into the topic straight away. Magdalena, let's start with the inspiration for this conversation tonight. And Claire says, lovely to see you in person, Magdalena, because I've forgotten that you've never seen Magda. I've known her for my entire life. But yes, this is lovely, lovely Magda. Magda, recently you've been to India. And this has inspired this whole conversation because, as far as I know, you've discovered some interesting insights about sound healing. And I would love to talk about this tonight. But before we get to it, also Michelle says hi. So lovely to have you here, Michelle. So, yes. What was your biggest personal shift while you were in India?
My background is actually that I've started co-facilitating sound baths initially, then I've done my sound therapy practitioner course. But I wanted to, instead of sound baths, I wanted to go using crystal balls. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into holistic, into sound healing. And whilst I was in India, I had opportunity to visit and to have some sessions with lovely person from Rishikesh yoga healing school, where I've discovered beautiful approach, deeper approach to using sound as a sound healing, using that more on our body, not just as a sound bath, but on human body, as many people do it here. But that combined also Ayurvedic approach, and it really showed me different aspect of sound healing. I'm actually going to explore and do further courses with them because it was really interesting.
Interesting. By the way, guys, if you've been wondering, where is Jan? Because I see him very active in the chat. Hello, Jan. Jan is on holidays. I'm actually very surprised that he joined us tonight because I know that he had some plans. So lovely to have you here, Jan, with us, saying hello to everybody. It's good to have your grounding energy here. You mentioned sound healing, you mentioned sound bath, and this is something I would love to talk about today, perhaps a little bit later, to actually bring the definition and bring the differences between one and another. But before we jump into that, I would like to know your understanding of sound healing, and perhaps it has deepened during your journey. Let's talk about that. I'm curious. What did you discover during your time in India?
Mainly, I think you've mentioned there's a difference in between sound baths and sound healing. Obviously, it's all to do with intention as well. And we know that, to me, the biggest saying is sound plus intention equals healing.
Mm.
So when we, from India, obviously, there was loads of insight and going deeper into our consciousness. So when we combine consciousness and sound, is that deep, profound healing.
Mm.
So during my experience previously from sound baths, let's say crystals bowls I'm using and I've been using, they're placed on the floor, and sound baths are more sort of passive relaxing experience, often done more in the groups. It can be one-to-one as well, but mainly sort of that group experience. Where sound healing is more, there's always intention, but they're more intentional, more personalized, having that one-to-one with your client, more targeted, using more vibrations directly on your body. And actually having some sessions around heart chakra balancing therapy in India, in Rishikesh. We're talking many benefits in terms of opening heart center. Sort of bowl is placed around your heart chakra, sort of chest, heart center, as well as having some benefits around breath as well, because that's hard, but don't forget about lungs as well. Anything with releasing blocks, emotional blocks, especially hard, I would say grief or any other emotions, as well as upper back massage.
Mm.
There's that aspect we don't really speak much around sound baths, but also providing that massage aspect on the body, and you can really sense vibrations going through your body, specifically targeting that area, which is quite profound.
Richard, I'm curious. What is your definition of a sound bath, sound healing? Richard is, as some of you may know, he is a sound healer as well. If you could jump on the comments, I would appreciate it. If you cannot, that's also fine. But I'm curious, what is, guys, your definition? Jump in the comments and write down what was your understanding. According to my research, the sound bath is like a relaxing sonic spa. And I really love that expression. And the sound healing is that vibrational medicine tailored to you, which resonates deeply with what you said so far. My understanding of a sound bath is that it's more passive, and you just lie down and bathe in the sound. However, just like you said, the healing aspect is often combined intention with the certain vibrations. There are certain instruments like singing bowls, tuning forks, which vibrate certain frequencies, and they get deep into the body. Would you agree with that? Am I going in the right direction with this?
Yes, I have very similar understanding to yours from my experience. I like this. What could you repeat? What you said, was it sound, sonic bath or sound?
Sonic bath, correct? Yes.
Yes, I love that expression. As you would bathe in the frequencies, in a sound, and I guess many people I know as well going to sound baths, they just want this relaxation. They the intention is not really going for emotion releases. Obviously, it can bring whatever it's meant to bring to you, but it's more could be as a spa experience from that perspective. If we're not going any deeper into sound healing.
Yeah, so the main difference is that within the sound bath, the receiver is more passive, and within the sound healing, the receiver is more an active participant. And as you said, within the sound bath, the goal is more relaxation and stress relief. With sound healing, it can be also energy alignment, healing, emotional release, just like you said. And within the tools, usually sound baths use broader spectrum of instruments. Within the sound healing, it's more specific to certain frequencies, very often solfeggio frequencies, which I'm going to mention a little bit later. But the biggest difference is that sound bath, to me, obviously, I'm talking from my own experience and from my own research, is that sound bath can be general. It's tailored to all. But sound healing can be tailored to your needs. And why is this important? Because out there in the world of internet, there is a lot of BS around it. You will find people who say that they use certain frequencies, certain instruments, singing bowls, tuning forks, which they say it's a certain frequency when it's actually not. And this is important because if we have a certain intention to do, it's important to be supported and use the right tools here. And we have some comments here as well. Let me go back here. Sound bath, says Richard, can be a sound healing session too. It's all where you direct your practice. And Richard also says, my sound baths do have a specific purpose. The main difference, I'd say, would be that the sound bath plays a great deal of importance to the musical aspect. And the sound healing emphasizes a treatment aspect here. And Claire says, I'll be honest, I have never experienced a sound bath. This is new to me. Well, I'm glad to hear that because we have a little surprise for you. I think I can say it now, Magdalena. Today, it's all about the theory for people who haven't come across this topic yet. But next week, Magda will join us again, this time using her beautiful instruments so you could actually experience what a sound bath is, or perhaps it'll be a sound healing. We'll see. And Michelle says, this is very interesting, Magda. Can you explain a bit more about massage with the sound?
It's the biggest deal of massage aspect I've experienced is when I had actually a C bowl, which is root chakra, which is sort of more around our. It's related with our grounding as well. So that was used on, and I've used this before. That was used on my feet, let's say, or around my hips. Obviously, it's to do with various bowls and nodes resonate with different chakras or centers, energy centers or parts of our body. But the vibrations and we're talking about Tibetan or singing bowls, not crystal bowls, the vibrations they create, it's amazing releasing massage experience on your body, sort of using that directly on your body. But it's better to use it on clothes, not on the body itself. Although in India, actually, I've explored that they do sound healing with bowls and oil. So it's sort of used moving along your body and oil. So this is new to me. So like I said, there was lots of experiences there. So that's something I might try one day.
Oh,
so we're going deeper into aspect of massage, actually.
That's wonderful. I've never heard that combination as well. So I'm curious what will be the result of your research and you going deeper within that topic. I I remember one sound healing session where it was one-on-one session within me. So I was surrounded by singing bowls, and also the sound healer was using singing bowls on me. And I will never forget that experience, because when she put a like huge singing bowl on my sacral area and she started to play with a certain move, I felt like it created a vortex which was sucking so much out of me, and so many things released my body back then. After the session, I became so chatty. I was also saying things in a very speedy way because it has opened my throat chakra as well. So it's amazing what actually instruments, sounds, and vibration can do within the body. And I came across a beautiful comparison. If you imagine your body as an instrument, a sound bath gently tunes the whole system like an orchestra warming up, and sound healing carefully retunes the strings that are out of tune. I really love this as well. And Richard says, yes, sound healing session with ascension oils on the body. Fantastic. There's also, guys, an invitation from Richard to join his Enniscorthy sound bath on the June the 20th. So whoever is in Ireland or outside Ireland and would love to experience sound bath, Richard is definitely a person to go to. I've experienced it myself. Wonderful, wonderful journey.
There's one aspect I want to add to the sound healing sound baths, if
Go
that's
ahead.
okay. Just that aspect, because I think Richard's mentioned that in terms of more therapy. Sound bath, usually you don't have, although you as a facilitator, you are sort of responsible for people participating, and you have this eye contact, and you see everyone in the room. But within sound healing, I'm talking more about one-to-one session, you can find out a little bit more about health aspects, more from that holistic health approach, and maybe preferences. It's a bit more personalized. So that's, I think, big aspect and big difference. Yeah, so that's.
So would you say that the sound healing is more active process than the sound bath? Am I understanding it correctly?
Active, I don't know if I would call it active, but potentially I would call it more personalized, more centered, and for the specific, for the person who is receiving it. As well as we need to be careful about the certain aspects of sound healing, as well as if someone's got pacemaker, doing some interview, obviously, or form before the session, which is part of the practice, especially one-to-one sessions. You don't really get to do that in so many details. You ask certain questions before sound bath, but in terms of pacemaker, let's say, you wouldn't be able to put bowl around the heart or use those vibrations. It's not advisable, and a few other health aspects we need to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything actually is a vibration, and the sounds interact with the energy field as well as the body and as well as the sound. And I think it's important to remember that. And tell me, Magda, what kind of outcomes do you see in your clients during that intentional healing?
Various. In terms of outcomes, I've seen deep emotional releases. In many cases, there are tears. People are really moved, or lots of emotions are coming up. There are some certain bowls within crystal bowls which create like dissonance. They create sort of this harmony to shift things up, and they not necessarily sound comfortable, not very uncomfortable, but it's meant to be bringing stuff up. as well as lighter, like deep relaxation, lots of tension release. Sometimes people are going into visions. Some insights are coming. Depends obviously how deep they go and which, because we're talking about different brain waves as well. And depends what state, because people are going to different levels, I would say, during sound bath. Some people actually can fall asleep, and it's always what's the best for them in terms of going through the session. Like I said, relaxation, emotional release, tension release, stress release, or deep processes. I've seen really deep processes going during sound baths, so it really varies. Individual.
Richard here says he actually agrees with you as well that it's not more active, it's more individualized in the case of sound healing session here. Let me switch that off. Yeah, but in either case, says Richard, the attendee or patient is a receiver. Okay, and how does the body respond differently in healing session? Because you mentioned that people have different, but how it is within the body, how the body experiences that.
Some people go through more movement. They really feel waves and vibrations. Their body might be moving. Some people are turning from side to side. Others are completely still. They're going into more light sleep. So the body, I've seen many cases of different reactions of the body during sessions. So it's very individual. So it's a range, I would say, from very still to more active. And I've seen actually a few times people sitting up during the session, and they sort of started flowing, and so it really varies.
We talked about the body, but let's talk about our energy body, which, and what I mean by that is our chakras. So how do different frequencies, because I suppose different instruments will have different frequencies, how they affect the different chakras or perhaps different emotions? Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
It's, to me, from what I've learned, certain notes, or if I refer to singing bowls, they notes resonate with specific chakras, and therefore obviously there are specific emotions. Let's say starting from root chakra, which is node D, and that can release, or in terms of emotions, that can release some fear, or there could be something around fear, which it's linked to that chakra. Sacral, which is D, node D, it could be anything around creativity, some breakthroughs, insights. Obviously, there are different schools as well around this. Just speaking from my experience. Then solar plexus, node E, that could be about your drive or your self-confidence. So it's sort of going through each bowl and sound or note resonates better with that specific chakra. As I know that probably many of our listeners are aware of chakras, but it's worth mentioning that they are our sort of energy centers, or translation wheels of energy. And each bowl sort of has specific resonance with that part of the body, whereas some emotions sit. I think you've had some discussions in the past around third eye. And for me, I think that was Richard or someone. That's for me sort of center for intuition. But I remember there was discussion around that. So it could be specific bowl resonating with this. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. I would love to mention a different aspect of sound healing, which is using certain frequencies, which I am a big fan of. They're called the solfeggio frequencies, which are the specific tones of the sound which are believed having healing properties and the spiritual significance, and they also resonate with certain chakras, and they've been measured with the hertz wave or frequency, and the root chakra would be the lowest of 174 hertz. This is that foundation you mentioned. 285 would resonate with a sacral chakra. 396 will be corresponding to the solar plexus. The roots. Well, actually, we can also start from different frequencies, and this is where I'm really curious, guys. If I'm really curious of your opinion, because many years when I started to learn about solfeggio frequencies, it started with 174 hertz, and this is something which is within me. But recently, when I was doing another research on that, I discovered that right now they say that the root chakra is actually 396 hertz and the sacral will be 417. So, Richard, I'm particularly curious your opinion on that. Do you know something about that? Because I used to believe that heart chakra will resonate with 528 hertz, and right now it's said that the heart chakra resonates with 639 hertz. And the reason I'm saying this is, again, there is a lot of information which is flying around the internet, but which one is actually the truth? And the only way is to find out this is to actually explore within the body. So I recently paired up with a musician who is absolutely crazy about it, and he tests everything, every single instrument, every single tuning fork, every single frequency which there exists. One thing I would love to mention also is that the frequency of 432 hertz, which they say it's the frequency of the earth, it's the frequency which is soothing and bringing a lot of good energy to our bodies. However, the music we are listening to, the media, television, radio, that type of music is designed within the 440 hertz, which is not so good within the body. So, with just a little bit of difference within the waves, we can also, at the same time, we can heal, but also we potentially could do a little bit of harm. I'm not sure. What is your opinion on that? I'm not sure if you can actually harm within the sound. But have you ever experienced somebody who would feel something negative during a healing session? Richard says it's too complicated to address via short text. Sorry.
I was going to say that is quite complicated, and to me, I work more from intuitive way. And every time I remember all those frequencies, if you ask me in the next month, I forget them, what resonates with what. They're important, but I sort of feel the sound as well and how it resonates. So it's more on the intuitive level. That's how it works with me. But certain frequencies, we know that specific music can trigger many emotions, not always positive. So that's, I would say, definitely affects us in a way, could be negative way. I haven't experienced anything during like this during any of the sessions or having sessions with anyone, but I know it exists.
And Richard is supporting us here. Let me show you guys this comment. Just remember this: solfeggio is a Western musical convention created to ensure an orchestra plays harmoniously. Sound healing modalities predate solfeggio by centuries. Thank you for sharing this, because this answers a lot of my questions. Solfeggio and heart's measurement help, sure, but they are not the key. And I think Richard mentioned here a really important aspect, that there is that Western type of looking at sound healing, sound baths, and there is an Eastern, more ancient way of approaching that topic. So let's talk about that. What surprised you the most about the way sound and perhaps yoga are practiced in India?
The main aspect, I would say, I think West is creating any sessions. We're trying to find specific niche. We're trying to be unique. Have theme session, which is lovely, which attracts the West. But what I've noticed in India and in other countries as well, I've been to, they kept more simple and still as those ancient practices. Obviously, those themes might exist, but they're not as. I think West made it a bit more fancy, if I can call it that way. It's the more themed or niched your session is, attracts those specific people. They're looking for this, but I think it's just my observation. Other people might have different opinion, but I think East keeps it more simple. They simplify things and more sort of, or they stay with origin. The same with yoga.
Yeah, I think because of the busy lifestyle we have in West, I think sound baths and sound healing is more focused here on the wellness, but as you said, specific results here. So what we could learn from Eastern approaches to deepen our own practice, then what we could learn from the ancient practices and what we could bring to our own daily life.
What we could learn, I think the main learning for me is to be more disciplined with our own sadhana, which is our own practice, our own devoted, dedicated practice every day to strengthen us, our inner world from the inside, and so then we can we can be stronger and face our external circumstances. So that morning sadhana, morning discipline practice, it's my main take, really, what we can learn from it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And Richard says, sound healing as we experience it here is not and has never been practiced in Himalayas. And there is a question from Michelle. Do you think it loses its healing power in the West when it is more fancy? I think it's a great question.
I think it's a lot to do with intention. If intention is still to provide that service, that session, in a purpose of healing people, as we know, and we can be open about this, in many cases could be, I wouldn't call it money-making practice, but there are many sorts of type of healers. But if it's done with the right intention, I wouldn't say it loses its healing properties. It's just because I think we I think West potentially might be more used to variety, dopamine, something specific we're thriving for. We want more. I'm talking very, very general. That's my own sort of more my own personal perspective. That we thrive for more, but I don't think it's all down to intention.
Richard says, here we use many traditions: Himalayas, Japan, China, American Indians, Africa, ancient Celtic Druids, and Westerns. And it's fine, of course, but it's not Indians and even less Tibetans. In short, sonic and vibrational healing is practiced worldwide. And I think
Yes.
music itself, sound, is the language which everybody understands in their own way. But this is also something which connects us all everywhere and around the world. It doesn't matter if it's a sound bath, sound healing, if it's a guitar, violin, tuning fork, or a singing bowl, crystal ball. Music brings people together one way or another. Mhm. Is there something else we are missing in the West when it comes to sound and spirit then, if there are so many differences?
What we're missing, I think we're missing seeing life simpler.
Mm,
Just trying to think. First thing which comes to my mind is trying to simplify our life a little bit.
mm.
I think we overstimulated with all the with our daily life here in the West, that maybe we overcomplicate things a little bit, and just trying to see those simple pleasures in life, and really having that gratitude for what we have. It's very important.
Well said. And it's an interesting question from Claire here. Do you need to hear the sound to heal? For example, if a person have difficulties with hearing, so can you trust the process?
Like I said, it's to do with intention, and apart from hearing, there are other, our body will still feel the vibrations, because the energy would work, in my opinion, regardless if you can hear it or not, because it's still the beat, still vibration and energetically, because sound also affects our nadis, which are our subtle energy channels. This is we go into yoga as well, where it's said that energy flows through those pathways. So it's not. I don't see it as linked only to our hearing. We can maybe touch on that when, I don't know if we have chance. Maybe I can touch on different elements and which senses they are related to.
Oh yeah,
In
please
terms
do.
of
That's
using sound.
interesting.
Should I?
Yes, please do. That's very interesting.
That's just something I'm interested in more and more, in terms of using different instruments to resonate with different elements. Let's say more earthy element of earth will be using drums, and they
Yeah,
bring more,
didgeridoo.
yes, they bring more like consistency, strength, and our that resonates with our root a lot, and a sense of smell. Maybe we'll go quickly through elements and maybe which instruments. Fire, to me, there are more gongs and Tibetan bowls, more this metal sort of fiery sound, especially gongs. To me, they're really fiery.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
And water, element of water, and to me that would be more sort of crystal to me more resonates with water. So crystal bowls, crystal singing bowls, and potentially instruments like kalimba, this sort of flowy, more angelic sort of sounds. More air instruments, more like Native American flute. There are all sorts of types of flutes. And air is that space of spaciousness. And all the elements then resonate with different senses. Sacral, for example, I said root, smell. Sacral will be taste. Solar plexus, our sight.
Oh, interesting.
Heart was our perception, touch, feeling. Our throat is more, it's more actually related to the hearing. And the third eye, it's the sense of perception, of mind. And crown, this is sense of, it doesn't really correspond with any senses, but it's more everything which is beyond.
Oh wow, that's such an interesting concept. I've never come across it. So thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. We also have a beautiful comment here that sound from Balanced Yogi. Sound is basis of all creation. A world exists in all of us. So these sounds from sound healing help us to get connected with our inner world more and more. Thank you for sharing this. This is a wonderful way of looking at it and approaching it. And Richard says, you can, and in fact, you should hear with the body. I think the sound, especially the vibration, can bypass the mind, the senses itself, and work directly with the nervous system and the energy here. Wait a second. I've lost you guys here. Technical difficulties when Jan is not here and it's all on me. It can be challenging. And speaking of which, Jan says, hello, Ellen, and welcome, Balanced Yogi, here.
Hello.
Wonderful. Claire says here, it sounds so beautiful that we can connect to the vibration. Thank you. So we can actually surpass certain senses and still receive the goodness and beauty of sound healing.
I just want to that. Sorry, Luna.
Go ahead.
Just a thought which came to my mind in terms of our connection to sound. I was thinking how we develop, and when we in the womb as a children, that how we develop this connection to sound, hearing our mother's heartbeat and the flow of water around us as well. So that's our first sort of, and obviously all the sounds beyond, but inside the womb, that's our first initiation to the sound healing, really, through our mothers.
Beautiful. You mentioned that sound helps to release stuck or suppressed emotions. I would love to talk about that for a little while. Have you witnessed some emotional breakthroughs through sound within your clients, within your practice?
Yes, I've witnessed some deep emotional releases, some of the clients, and in some cases, I start also using, I'm not a singer. I used to sing a little bit as a child and played various instruments.
Which I didn't know, and I've known you my entire life.
And
about the singing, not playing.
About the singing, yes.
Yes. However, I remember us writing lyrics and singing songs together while you were playing the guitar or piano. But
I just want to say, in some deeper processes where I use shamanic drum, I start singing for the client, and that's very personal, sort of coming through my natural instrumental voice. The song, they are not in English, they're not in any language I know, they are more sort of Asian sounds or humming. And I know that song comes to that specific person and helps, supports with the healing.
Oh, wow.
Something I started recently developing, and I can't stop it. It's sort of natural, and I know it comes to that person specifically, sort of healing through voice as well, because we were talking about instruments a lot, but it's our voice as well.
So what role does the voice play in this process then?
I think the voice is really important, but not many of us, particularly me, wanted to use my voice. My throat was very blocked for many years, and humming, even if it's singing during sound healing session, or if it's your own voice, how many of us are singing having a shower? So that voice, or singing to ourselves, or the voice is really important. Even when we sigh, we make a sound. So our own voice, even taking cleansing breaths, when we breathe in and then breathe out, if we do it through our mouth, again, is that cleansing deep breath with the sigh out, with using our voice.
Yeah, it's actually one of the somatic practices to use that relief. You can use many other vowels as well, but specifically the side of release, is the signal to a parasympathetic part of our nervous system to calm down and release. And even I, from my own experience, I'm not a sound healer, I'm not a singer, totally not. But even I use my voice, the power of my voice, to heal and help people to go through certain emotional releases or trauma releases through meditations. I guide my clients within my coaching practice and other practices as well, using the power of my voice and using the power of the words to get through certain experiences and to experience that release of certain aspects. Also, it can be healing for the mind. It can lead to understanding certain things as well. So yes, the voice is also a powerful instrument. And Jan here, our dear druid, says sound is healing when it resonates with our own frequencies. Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. So what makes... Sorry, would you mind to repeat, please?
Simple yawning, when we yawn in the morning, that's a big release as well.
Oh yeah. So what is about sound? Because we talk here about sound in general. What makes sound a safe container for emotional release then?
I guess many people, sound baths, let's say, they resonate with many people. They don't want to use other modalities, and it sounds more relaxing. It sort of has this lovely feeling around this. So and facilitators, that's our purpose, to create the safe container from people. And it's normally you lay down. Obviously there are different setups, but usually you lay down and you feel more cozy, you're covered with the blanket. It's just creating that lovely safe environment for people where makes the sound positive or happening.
There is a bit of problem with the sound. Something I think happened here. Your microphone is on. I'm not sure. The druid is asking here, Magda, what is your perception of using shamanic drumming as a healing tool? And by the way, guys, if you have any questions to Magda, feel free to ask them in the chat.
In terms of shamanic drumming, I love it. I think shamanic drumming, it creates certain vibrations, but it also helps people to go into this trance-like state. Obviously, depends how the drumming is performed and what our intention is, the pace, and we can use this in various ways. But I think it's really profound. I've had great results in terms of using drum. I think apart from all the singing bowls, it's a great tool. I've lost my train of thoughts.
Okay. You were talking about why you love shamanic drumming
Yes.
and your own experiences. Anyway, sometimes that happens. I'm guilty of that. Let's talk about practical tips we could use at home within our everyday practices. What would you suggest? Where to start?
In terms of creating our own, using the sound at home.
Yes.
Like I said, I love use of my voice. Sing as no one is listening. Use of your own voice, sort of release through your own voice, through the breath, maybe gentle humming, but as well as being aware of the sound around you, of the sounds of the nature. Maybe you live near the water or there are birds singing. So it doesn't have to be always sound bath, sound healing. We have so many soothing sounds around us in our daily life. Or if we go into nature, why not be more aware of it and using that for our own healing or balancing?
Mhm. You mentioned humming. Could you present how it actually could be used in the everyday practice?
In terms of that, I use various pranayamas or breathing techniques using humming, but it could be any vowels or consonants. Some of them could be, as you would say, M. But there are various, there's B breath, which is very calming breath, could be used in the morning, in the evening. And actually, they've done lots of research on this type of pranayama breath, where you cover your ears, and this is just to cover sort of your senses. You cover your ears with your thumbs, and your index finger and your middle finger, your eyes. Obviously, there are various schools. I tend to use my middle and index finger, and then I take deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I produce this humming sound of M. And this internalizes the voice, the humming, and you've got this lovely vibration going through your body. I love using that technique, as well as we can use chakra chanting, which resonate with each chakra, which is, I don't think we're going to have time today, but which is Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham, Om. So it resonates through the chakra chanting, it resonates with each energy center. We can balance it as well.
Lovely. Claire says, I used to love a vocal warm-up when I was studying drama at college. Some funny songs to open up the range to project voice to the back of the theater. Absolutely.
Tried some of those, and they, especially, I love doing it in the front of the mirror. But and I'm not an expert on that, but there are various movements you can create, humming to open up the
Yes.
voice.
Luna and the Druid also behind the scenes. Before we jump on live, we also have our certain routines, which is waking up our voice. Magdalena, any final tip, any final advice, any final medicine those who are watching us tonight could take with them today after this session?
It's mainly to have your own dedicated practice and to keep yourself balanced, whichever practice resonates with you, being more aware of the nature of the sounds around us, and trying to simplify our life as much as we can.
Thank you very much. Magdalena, where can we find you? Where can we taste your medicine?
You can find me on Instagram or Facebook under Magdalena Inner Flow. My website is in the making. Will be available very soon in terms of the services. I was doing mainly in-person sessions, but now I'm moving slowly into the online space in terms of sound healing.
Thank you so much. Magda, it was wonderful to have you tonight as a guest. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience. If there are any final questions for Magda, now it's the time to write them in a comment, as we're slowly but surely coming to the end of this session. Michelle says, thank you, Magda. And Claire says, this has been incredible to listen to you, Magda, and to hear from people in the chat too. Best wishes to everyone, and until next week. Before we say our goodbyes, I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't pull some cards. Inspired by the knowledge and about the sound, I pulled few cards, which I'm actually finishing with the last question here. And today there'll be only 4 cards. What vibration am I currently holding in my energy fields, which will reveal your dominant energetic frequency or emotional tone right now? And I pulled using Wider Smith Tarot, which is very unusual for me. I'll show you the cards here. And we have the Knight of Cups. So what vibration, what is within our energy fields? It's emotions. It's that being open to listen or to actually feel what's deep within our hearts, and what emotional or energetical block is ready to be released. Surprise, surprise, we have the Tower card, which is the change. So perhaps there is a resistance for a change, or perhaps like myself, that the change is coming here. And it's important to release all the resistance, the fear of the unknown, the need of controlling stuff, the need of having and figuring everything out. And it comes to energetic block or noise, and what is disrupting our energy or your energy in what needs clearing is the 8 of Swords, the anxiety, but the one which is totally created within our head, being in the head in general, writing those negative scenarios and feeding of them. This needs to go. If this change is bringing something new within our life, this is something which stops it to fall. And you remember, when something's changing, it's always for our highest good. It's always for the best, even though it may not look like something we would want. And what to remember about the healing path you are right now, here today, which talks about a little bit higher perspective, is the Knight of Pentacles. Slow and steady wins the race. Remember that healing, it's a process. Sometimes, especially with a Tower, things may happen overnight, it may happen instantly, but in general, we often talk here on Luna and the Druid about taking baby steps, and healing is the best example of actually how taking baby steps works and brings us and moves us forward on the journey. Because remember, healing is a journey. Healing is a process of unlearning and discovering new aspects of our life, releasing all those traumas, releasing all those limiting beliefs. So slowly but surely move forward. Even if you come across some sort of thoughts which are binding you down, if you come across changes, unexpected changes, unwanted changes, remember that there is a bigger picture behind that. And Richard says, Luna, and you will like that, there is undoubtedly an element of magic. And so, thank you so much, guys. I pressed something and I don't know how to. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. There is a lot of thanks coming from the chat for you, Magda. And from the bottom of my heart and from the light of my being, I thank you for saying yes to this invitation and filling up for Jan. It was a pleasure and the honor to have you as my guest. I love you deeply and thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it, my dear. This is everything for now. But you will see Magda one more time here on Luna and the Druids, and you'll be able to taste her medicine. So we invite you next week to experience a wonderful sound bath with Magdalena. It's been a pleasure to be a guest in your homes. I thank you one more time, and that's it. Goodbye.
Bye all. It was my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And remember to follow Magdalena. It's in the description box, her link to her Instagram. Much love to all. And be well in sound, says Richard. And Claire already says, I'll be there. See you soon, guys. Bye.